Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is a beautiful day, but we have some incredibly heavy and wild topics to dive into regarding our favorite Port Charles residents. Grab a snack and get comfortable because we have a lot of ground to cover. I am literally shaking as I type this because I just went down the deepest, darkest rabbit hole of General Hospital, rumors and predictions, and I need to vent to people who actually understand my panic. Can we talk about this Nancy Lee Grahn situation? I know. She posted on Instagram that she's just on a birthday trip to Lake Louise in Canada. She specifically called it a vacation. But are we really supposed to just ignore the fact that back in January she was literally penning letters to Canada saying she wanted to escape the United States because of her political beliefs? I mean, come on, I've been watching this show for years, and whenever an actor starts making massive real-life noise about wanting to leave the country, you have to start worrying about their character's fate on the canvas. And look, I love Alexis Davis. I have loved her since the beginning. She is the moral compass of Port Charles, even when she's falling off the wagon. Even when she's making terrible choices with men, she's the beating heart of the legal system in that town. The idea of Nancy Lee Grahn actually leaving the show, it makes me sick to my stomach. But what's making me even sicker is this massive, terrifying prediction that has been circulating about exactly how they might write her out if she does leave. I'm sorry, but if this prediction comes true, it is going to be the most devastating, soul-crushing thing General Hospital has done in a decade. Okay, let me break this down because my mind is racing. We all know Danny has been completely spiraling. He is absolutely obsessed with this idea of being Jason 2. Ever since Jason was taken to WSB custody, taking the fall for Rocco, which is a whole nother mess, Danny has been losing his mind. He thinks he can just waltz into Sonny's organization and take Jen Sidwell down himself. He literally went to Sonny and Rick Lansing begging to get involved. Sonny shut him down, obviously. But Danny doesn't listen. He's a teenager with Morgan and McCall, blood running through his veins. He just crashed Charlotte's car on Route 91 for crying out loud. The kid is reckless. He's grieving the loss of his mother, Sam, and he's desperate to get his father back. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's back up to Rick Lansing. Remember when Rick showed up at Alexis's door recently? He specifically warned her that Danny was trying to get in on the mob action. He told Alexis she needed to monitor him closely. And you just know that when a soap drops a heavy anvil like that, it's going to pay off in the worst way possible. Alexis is fiercely protective of her family. She already lost Sam. There is absolutely no way she's going to let Sam's son throw his life away to the mob. So here is the prediction that is keeping me awake right now. The theory is that Danny, in all his reckless teenage arrogance, decides to track down Jen Sidwell himself. He wants revenge for Jason. But Jen Sidwell is not some low-level thug. This man is a terrifyingly calm, calculating monster who is currently drowning in grief and rage over the murder of his son, Marco Rios. Sidwell already blamed Sonny for Marco's death. He's been gunning for Sonny's entire organization. So if Danny Sonny's nephew, Jason's son, steps into Sidwell's crosshairs, it's a bloodbath waiting to happen. The prediction says that Danny tracks Sidwell to an abandoned warehouse. Because of course it's an abandoned warehouse, it's Port Charles, but Danny's walking straight into a trap. Sidwell is already there waiting for him. And he's not alone. He has Pascal with him. Pascal, who is just itching to channel his grief over Marco into pulling the trigger. Sidwell wants to send the ultimate message to Sonny. He wants Sonny to feel the exact same pain he felt losing Marco. So Sidwell orders Pascal to execute Danny right there on the spot. Am I the only one who gets chills just thinking about this setup? It is so dark. But here is where the prediction rips my heart completely out of my chest. Alexis, who took Rick's warning to heart, has been tailing Danny. She followed her grandson to this warehouse. And just as Pascal raises his gun, just as Sidwell gives the order to fire, Alexis bursts out of the shadows. She doesn't even think. She doesn't scream for help. Because she is a mother and a grandmother first. And she has already buried her oldest daughter. She will not bury her grandson. So Alexis lunges. She throws her entire body in front of Danny just as Pascal pulls the trigger. I can't even type this without tearing up. The prediction states that the bullet tears straight through Alexis's chest, right in front of Danny's horrified eyes. Imagine the sheer trauma of that moment. Danny, who thought he was so tough, who thought he could handle the mob life, just like his dad, suddenly realizing the horrific fatal cost of this world. He catches his grandmother as she falls. The blood, the shock, the absolute nightmare of it all. And then in her final dying breaths, Alexis looks up at Danny. She doesn't care about her own life fading away. She only cares about saving his soul. She uses her last ounce of strength to plead with him. She begs Danny to walk away from the mob. She begs him to leave the underworld behind, to not become another casualty of Sunny's life, to not follow in Jason's tragic footsteps. And then she dies. I am completely losing my mind over this. I mean, think about the sheer magnitude of a scene like that. Nancy Lee Grahn would act the absolute hell out of it. Give her the Emmy right now just for the concept. But if they actually kill off Alexis Davis this way, the fallout in Port Charles would be apocalyptic. Let's talk about Danny first. If this happens, Danny is going to be destroyed. Completely, utterly destroyed. He's already carrying so much trauma. He grew up without Jason for most of his life. He lost Sam. And now, his own reckless actions, his own stupid desire to play mobster, directly causes the violent murder of his grandmother. The guilt would consume him for the rest of his life. Steve Burton and Bradford Anderson were just talking on their podcast about how Jason would hate Danny becoming Jason too. Jason's life is a tragedy caused by a traumatic brain injury. He never wanted this for his son. And if Alexis dies, saving Danny from this life, Danny will be haunted forever. He will be carrying a lifelong burden of guilt that no amount of therapy could ever fix. And what about Sunny? Oh my God, Sunny. Sunny and Alexis have such a massive, complicated history. She is the mother of his daughter, Christina. They have fought, they have loved, they have hated each other, but there has always been a deep, underlying bond of family. If Jen Sidwell's men gun down Alexis Davis, Sunny Corinthos will unleash a war unlike anything we have ever seen on this show. We thought Sunny was dangerous before. We thought he was unhinged when he was off his meds. That would be nothing compared to the blood-soaked vengeance he would rain down on Sidwell. Sidwell wanted to hurt Sunny by going after Danny, but killing Alexis would cross a line that cannot be uncrossed. Sunny would tear Port Charles apart brick by brick to get to Sidwell and Pascal. It would be a total bloodbath. The streets would run red. I know some people are loving the idea of a classic violent mob war returning to GH, but personally, I don't want it at the cost of Alexis Davis. Wait, I need to take a breath. Okay, back to the point. Think about her daughters. Think about Christina and Molly. I can't even fathom the scenes we would get. Christina is just now reconnecting with Ethan Lovett. She's dealing with all her past trauma. And now she's going to lose her mother to the very mob violence she has spent her life surrounded by. And Molly. Molly is literally recovering from surgery right now, finally having some sweet, serious moments with Cody Bell. To have her mother ripped away in such a brutal, senseless act of violence, it would shatter them. The Davis girls have been through so much. Losing Sam was hard enough. Losing Alexis would leave them as orphans in a town that constantly chews people up and spits them out. And let's look at the bigger picture of Port Charles. Alexis Davis is the legal system. She has been the district attorney. She has been the ultimate defense attorney. She has fought for justice. She has bent the rules. She has paid the price. The void she would leave behind is insurmountable. Who steps into that role? Diane Miller can't carry the entire legal weight of the town alone. Rick Lansing, please. Rick is probably going to be drowning in his own guilt because H.E. was the one who warned Alexis about Danny in the first place. If Rick hadn't told her, maybe she wouldn't have followed Danny. The ripple effects of this one death would touch literally every single character on the canvas. I know. I am getting completely worked up over a prediction. Nancy Lee Grahn said she was just on a birthday trip. She said she was grateful for her job. But the timing is just so suspicious. The writers are moving all these chess pieces into place. Danny's rebellion, Sidwell's escalating violence, Rick's specific warning to Alexis. It all lines up too perfectly with this warehouse theory. If they do this, it will be the most heroic, beautiful, and devastating exit possible. Alexis sacrificing herself to save Sam's son, to save Jason's son. It is poetic. It is tragic. It is everything a soap opera death should be. But I am not ready for it. I don't want to say goodbye to Alexis. I don't want to see Danny broken beyond repair. I don't want to see Christina and Molly weeping over another casket. Am I overreacting? Maybe. But you guys know how this show works. When the rumors start flying and the storylines start pointing in one very specific, very fatal direction, you have to brace yourself. I just keep picturing that warehouse. The cold, dark lighting, the standoff, Danny realizing he's not invincible, and then Alexis, fierce, protective, unstoppable Alexis, taking that bullet, her collapsing, the blood on Danny's hands, her final words echoing in that empty space, begging him to choose a different path. It's cinematic, it's heartbreaking. And the aftermath, Sunny finding out. I can just see the scene where Sunny gets the call. The absolute silence that falls over him before the terrifying explosive rage takes over. Sidwell thinks he's untouchable right now. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room because he's manipulating Laura and threatening Ezra Boyle. But if he's responsible for the death of Alexis Davis, he is a dead man walking. Sonny will not stop until Sidwell and Pascal are wiped off the face of the earth. Ethan Lovett already offered to wipe Sidwell off the map for Sonny, and you better believe Ethan would be front and center. In this war, especially after what Sidwell did to his mother Holly, it just feels like a massive storm is brewing in Port Charles. We have the Route 91 car crash drama with Jordan and Curtis. We have the cover-ups with Brooklyn and Tracy. We have Carly and Valentin hiding out from Jack Brennan. But all of that feels so small compared to the potential death of a legacy character like Alexis. I am going to be watching every single episode with my heart in my throat now. Every time Danny leaves the house, every time Sidwell smirks, every time Alexis looks concerned, I'm going to be waiting for that other shoe to drop. I really hope I'm wrong. I hope Nancy comes back from her Canadian vacation, films her scenes, and Alexis just continues to be the fierce, messy, wonderful lawyer we all love. But if this prediction is right, if Alexis Davis is about to make the ultimate sacrifice for Danny, we need to prepare ourselves for the most emotional weeks of General Hospital we've ever seen. I need to know what you guys think. Are you buying into this warehouse theory? Do you think Nancy is really leaving? Drop your thoughts, because I am going to be up all night obsessing over this. I can't believe they might actually do this. I just can't.